Welcome everyone, today we have a new guide for Honkai Star Rail. As you guys can see behind me, I have made the Excel and it is ready. So if you look over here, there's a lot of information that I have attached, and over here the Excel is ready for input. So let me teach you guys how to use Excel and also how to save a lot of energy and also how to get better relics and also farm different dungeons with a better probability. Let me show you one of my favorite relics. Yes, I have been farming relics this week and I've been getting some really good relics. This is a perfect row relics for Relic. So 14.2% critical rate, 5.8% critical damage, and also 38.8% quantum damage. Nothing was rolled into speed or defense. This is the perfect relic I got. And this is using this method to get the most correct min stats and then go for the sap stats. Now before we go into the Excel, let me just teach you guys how to get Excel. I'm not sure most of you know, so go to Files and then make a copy. Once you make a copy, you can input your values. But if you do not make a copy, you cannot do this. So make sure you know about this, and let's get into the Excel. As you guys can see over here, the Excel is broken down into 6 different parts. This is the first part. This is the second part, the third part, and then bottom there, there's 3 different parts. What I want to show you guys is the basic usage and also advanced usage. I know I'm doing a lot, right? So notice there is going to be 6 different dungeons for the Cavern of Corrosion. So let's come over here and let's come over to the Cavern of Corrosion. So you can see there's 6 different dungeons. I'm basically ranking them 1 to 6, and not a big deal. And usually you don't need the full Excel. So what I mean by that is, notice I'm ranking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't need all of them. Usually you'll just be farming one of the dungeons and you just need the top values over here. So all the values over here, right? But if you want to be more details, we can do this for all 6 dungeons and make a comparison. So let's zoom in a bit. Let me show you guys how to use the first part. So here I'm looking at dungeon number 1. So this is the first dungeon, right? This can be any dungeon you want. So here I'm looking at the increased ice damage and also increased wind damage. Now let's say if I wanted a few pieces, there's 8 pieces in total. So what I mean by that is there's 4 pieces over here and there's 4 pieces of different parts over here. If I wanted about 2 different boots, I want boots for both of those dungeons, and that's it. So I'll be typing 2 over here. And this will tell me the chance of me getting boots from farming this dungeon each time is 25%. Now let's say if I just wanted the wind element, if I wanted the wind set and I don't want the ice set. So if I wanted any of the wind set, this will be 50% chance of getting those items. And this is a basic version. Now the same logic works over here as well for the simulator universe, but there's only 2 pieces. So you either want 1 piece or 2 pieces. But there's also, the 2 pieces with the 2 sets, right? So in total you're looking at 4 pieces. Let's say if I'm going for World 3 over here, and I wanted this set, this space sailing station, which is very popular, but I don't want this set. So I don't want this set. And this means I'm looking at 2 target pieces out of the 4 pieces. So if I type 2 over here, notice this will tell me 50% of the time I will be getting what I wanted. This is the very, very basic, calculations over here, but we're going to get into more advanced calculations with other tools. So coming over to the next part, once you know what pieces you want, usually you just want 2 pieces or 1 piece. What I mean by that is, usually you just want the body and also the boots. You don't really need the gloves, you don't really need the helmet because they have fixed stats and usually have really good stats. So if we come over to the more advanced ones, you can ignore the numbers over here because they're very basic, right? So let's say if I want a critical rate on my cloak, on my body, and I wanted this body to be the correct body. So what I mean by that is, let's come on over to the Cave of Corrosion. I was farming this one, the Musketeer, and I wanted just 1 Musketeer with a critical rate. Eventually I got it. I'll show you guys over here. So where did I go? So eventually I think I was able to get it. And yes, eventually I was able to get it to the level 15 over here. Some okay rolls. So notice I got the Musketeer, and this is also plus 15, right? So I leveled this up. I just wanted to farm this item, and I'll be farming the Cave of Corrosion, right? So here I'll be farming this Cavern of Corrosion, and this is the, let's see how many dungeons, this is the 3rd dungeon over here. Each time I farm this, it would cost me 40 energy. So how does this work is, if I'm only looking for critical rate out of all the other possibilities, and I'm only looking for cloak, you just type 1 over here. Let's say if you're looking for critical rate and also critical damage, you're looking for 2 targets of the min stats. You type 2 over here. This will tell you what is the rate of getting the right min stat by farming this dungeon each time. And it really depends on how many targets you're looking for. And if we move over here a little bit, I'll show you guys over here. So if you're looking for the body, you're looking at 7 different min stats. There's HP percent, attack, defense, critical rate, critical damage, ongoing healing, and also hit effect. So ideally, most people want the critical rate and also critical damage, but sometimes you just want one of them. And you can see that the rate of getting this one by farming this dungeon is extremely low. And this is why on the next part, I'll give you guys a usage of those probabilities so you know which dungeon to farm, and then use the leftover relics to be farming, to be scavenging them, and also crafting the items. So it's much better to combine the two, guide over here. Now, similarly, using the same example, if I'm looking for boots and I just want to speed on my boots. So over here, I'm just using the top example over here. So looking over here, you can see that the boots, there is only 4 options to roll. Now, this is a typo over here on Proton.gg. So I took the screenshots over here. Notice that they said boots have 5, right? But after the release of the game, they actually took away the break effect. So the boots only have 4 different selections. There's HP, attack, defense, and also speed. So if you're going for boots and what happened here? So if you're going for boots and you just want to speed on the boots, the chance of you getting a boots with speed, if you farm the Musketeer dungeon with 40 energy, it's only 3.13%. Quite low, right? So this is where you want to see the percentage if you're looking for certain items. Of course, sometimes you can be looking for multiple items. Let's say if I'm looking for critical rate, critical damage, and here I'm looking for speed and also attack. And in total, I'm looking at about 10% chance of getting what I wanted from farming those dungeons for those 2 items on the right set and also on the right min stats. So now the bigger question is, how does this help me? Because what I want to show you guys is, notice that we have the rates over here. And if you look at all 6 of the dungeons, let's say if you look at all 6 of those available dungeons, and you look at what are the pieces you want in those dungeons and the detailed pieces you want over here, notice I did some, rough numbers. You can see that some of those dungeons, it will give you a better chance because you want multiple parts of those items. Some other dungeons, the rates are really good. So it really depends on your account, what stats you need, and you input the values over here. Make sure you know there's about 7 target stats for the cloak, and also there is 4 target stats for the boots. Now, if you guys find this a little confusing, don't worry, at the end of the video, I'll give you guys an example with my own account. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed, it is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering tons of free Jade guides, new events, official updates, and also free-to-play tips and also tricks to Hong Kong Star Rail. And make sure you turn on the notification, guys, because some of the events and also some of the updates may be time limited and with a limited number of giveaways. Like in this particular guide, only 2,000 players can get the lucky giveaway for 3,000 Jades. So make sure you subscribe and also turn the notification on. And if you look over here, a lot of you haven't turned it on. We have over 80% people who haven't turned it on. So make sure you turn it on for the latest news and also all the freebies with Hong Kong Star Rail. So moving over to the next part, and those are even more important, because if I'm going for the orbs over here, notice here the planetary spear actually have 10 different selection of stats. So not only do you have HP, attack, defense, you also have 7 different elements. So there's going to be 10 things you can select from. Let's say if I'm just going for the lightning damage for Jing Yuan over here, and the chance of me rolling to lightning damage with this one is only 2.5%. It is extremely low. So if I'm just farming for one element, it is not very good to be farming a simulator world. Now finally, coming over to the rope calculation over here. So if you look at the ropes over here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 options with the link ropes. And what you want to do is, if you're looking for a particular stats, usually we go for attack, right? And sometimes you go for energy regen. So if you're going for 2 stats or 1 stat, if you're going for attack or energy regen for the particular set, there's 10% chance of getting this item each time you spend 40 energy on the loots. And of course, if you're just going for attack, you put 1 over here, you can see there's only 5% chance. So if I'm looking for lightning damage on the orb and I'm looking for attack on the ropes, each time I spend my 40 energy, I have about 7.5% of getting what I wanted. Now, in order to make this one a little bit less confusing, let me give you guys an example. So we're not going to use a basic calculation, we're going to use the advanced calculation. And over here, you can see my account is preparing for Jing Yuan. And I haven't got Jing Yuan yet because it's not released on America. I keep pressing the wrong button. So here my items are on my server over here. So what I want to show you guys is I will be farming the electric set for Jing Yuan. And let's say if I'm going for the electric set, I'm going for the speed boots. Notice here I have attack boots. I wanted speed boots for Jing Yuan. And that's all I wanted. And I may be looking for critical damage because I already have critical rate for the electric cloak. So I'm looking for 2 items. One of the items I'm looking for is going to be the speed boots. I don't need attack boots, I just want speed boots. So I put 1 over here. But if I'm looking for both speed and also attack, I put 2 over here, right? So 1 over here for the boots. I'm looking for critical damage, and that's it. I don't need critical rate for Jing Yuan, I don't need attack on the cloak. So I put 1 over here because I'm only looking for 1 stat for the cloak. Now, ideally, I don't really need the other pieces because those two pieces, this piece rolls into critical damage pretty well, and this piece have a potential of attack and also critical damage. So ideally, I'm not in need of those two, so we don't have to worry about those numbers over here. And this is the most case for players. So here, if we add up those numbers, we're looking at about 5% chance of getting what I wanted by spending 40 energy. Now, alternatively, what I can do is I can be farming a set of the planetary set for Jingyuan. So I can be farming for the lightning damage, and I can be farming the same set for the ropes for the attack percentage. So if I was to do that, I wanted attack percentage on the rope, and then I want lightning damage on the orb. So this is pretty straightforward, right? It is 1 over here. And if I add those two values up, I'm looking at 7.5% chance of getting what I wanted. So if we're comparing, this is 5% chance of getting what I wanted, those two numbers, this is 7.5% chance of getting what I wanted. And in that sense, I should be spending my energy by farming a planetary set of getting what I wanted. Until the rates change, I will be doing this. And whatever bad relics I get, I will be then salvaging those bad relics, and I'll be crafting those to other set. And this will be the optimal way to do it. So this way you're allocating your energy correctly, and you know what is the most highest probability of getting what you wanted. And the leftover bad relics, you salvage them and you craft items this way. Now, of course, in terms of crafting, it is also a little tricky. I recommend crafting the boots and also the ropes first, and then start crafting the cloak and then the spear. Simply because if you're crafting the boots, there's 4 options to craft the boots. If you're crafting the rope, there's 5 options. If you're crafting the body, there's 7 options to craft. And finally, the spear, there's 10 different options. So let me show you guys over here. So if I come over to my synthesizer, and if I was crafting, I'll pick any of those. So if I'm crafting my body, notice the amount of rolls you can get, there is about 7 of those. But if you're crafting the feet, the rolls you get is about only 4 of those. So it's much likely of you getting what you wanted. But if I'm crafting the orb over here, there's about 10 different rows. And finally, if I'm crafting the ropes over here, there's about 5 different rows. I'll make a calculator for you guys on crafting as well to make it easy for you. So hopefully you guys find this calculator very easy, and I have been using this calculator to maximize my energy spending and to get the most better relics this way. And this is really good, right? Now, as I said earlier guys, in the future I'll make a video about which item you should be crafting with self-molding resin, and also the best method of crafting with your relic set with salvaging, and also which item to craft. I'll make a calculator for you guys similar to this one. So stay tuned for more videos and some more guides with the relics. And if you guys are financially stable and wants to support me a little more, you can come over here with donations and also patrons. Yes, I'm a little shameless asking for donations, right? But recently, the price of everything goes up so quickly, and my rent just went up by 20%. I'm trying to scrap by with expense at the moment. Not trying to ask money from you guys, but just saying, if you're financially stable, make sure you click the links. I'm joking, guys. Thank you for all the support. Just hit a like and subscribe, and that'd be a lot to me as well. And make sure to leave a comment.